feel like it's just a big country. It just don't feel as progressive.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my channel. We're gonna be talking with, this is my beautiful wife, Biama Cox, and we're gonna be talking about living in Jacksonville, Florida in our 20 plus years here. And we're just gonna talk about it and just help someone who's out there, who's whether they're deciding to move to Jacksonville, Florida, or maybe another part of Florida, and just get their take. We've raised 3 kids here in Florida and raising some other family members as well. And so we want to give you just a viewpoint of that. So if you're wondering what it's like to move to Jacksonville, Florida with your kids, what it's like to move to Jacksonville, Florida, whether you're a middle-aged couple or maybe you're a college student, whatever you may be, and you just want to get insight, we're going to help you with this. So I'm going to allow my wife to introduce herself, and then we're going to jump right into it. My name, first off, is Artie Cox, living in Jacksonville, Florida. I am a realtor, and I'm here to help you to buy real estate in the Jacksonville, Florida area, whether to buy, invest, or sell your property. So we're just going to talk. We're just going to keep it real with you and just let you go from there. I'm gonna let my wife introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself, then we'll jump right in.
Hello, my name is Biama Cox, and I'm of course Artie's wife. I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for over 20 years here, and so I am so far so good in the nursing field, but I'm looking forward to, like say, seeing what I can offer everyone.
Okay, all right, great, thanks. So what we're gonna do here, we're just gonna talk about early on, back in early 2000s, what it was like when we first got married, when we moved to Jacksonville, Florida. So give you a little backstory, to give you a little context. I had moved to Jacksonville, Florida back in 1999. I was a single parent at the time. I moved here, got established, moved in with my brother on the west side of Jacksonville off 103rd Street. And I lived there in an apartment with him for about a year. Then I bought a home on the south side of Jacksonville. I got experience in all areas of town. Lived on the south side, a modest home. Stayed there until about my wife, we got married in 2002. She moved from Tampa. So I just want to get her viewpoint when she moved to Jacksonville, her initial assessment of it outside of us just being together as a married couple, but just what was your thoughts coming from a major city, because she went to school in Tampa, USF, right? Go Bulldogs, right? She went there. She's from Central Florida. So I just want her to just break down what it was like moving from a major city like Tampa and coming to Jacksonville, and just give her raw, unadulterated truth on it so someone, can really understand. So just take your time and just go for it.
Well, as he said, I am raw. I'm blunt, and I just tell you like it is. That's just how I am. But a little correction on that. Yes, I am from Central Florida. I was living in Tampa, Florida, and had gone to school, to nursing school. And then once I graduated, I moved back home to Central Florida, and I stayed there for a year, and then I moved and transitioned to Jacksonville, Florida. The difference to me between Tampa, Florida and Jacksonville, Florida is the culture. That's the first thing that I noticed when I moved here, was that the culture is just not as progressive as Tampa, Florida is. When I moved here, I said, there are, of course, people of color, people who are, not of color. But for me, as being young at the time, I was like 27, 28. And even though I had a child, I still was, the type that wanted to see what the downtown was like. Was the downtown, vibing and popping? Did the downtown area have, jazz music on a regular night, a place that we could go to just to listen to, jazz music. If not jazz music, Chicago style music, Zydeco dancing. I love to dance, and so I was looking for that. But I didn't want the club scene, because I'd already done the club scene in my teens, so I didn't want that. I didn't need that. But I, just as a married couple, I wanted somewhere where I can go to, learn different styles of dancing. And I just didn't find that here. I didn't find a place where we could go as a couple to dance, to learn Chicago stepping or Zydeco dancing, to get that. If I wanted to learn Indian style dancing, where was that? And I didn't feel that was here. Versus when I was in Tampa, we had Ybor City where I can go out on a Tuesday night and just go out and listen to jazz music, listen to R&B, listen to some 70s, 80s music, have live bands playing that type of music, playing, Louisiana style music on a random, Tuesday night. But I didn't have that here. I didn't see that here, find that here. So for me, that was a big difference in the culture. Food festivals. In Tampa, Florida, we have food festivals on a regular basis. It wasn't, just once a month, or a couple times a year. It's on a regular basis where you have food festivals. You didn't have to wait. And even in Ybor City, where it's an area specifically designed for people to go out and just hang out, you didn't have to wait till the weekend, to have something to do. You can do it during the week as well. You don't have to wait till, oh my gosh, I gotta wait till once a month before they would have something going on. It happened every week. So there was always, you always felt like there was something to do, something exciting, something fun. And then for kids, of course in Tampa we have Busch Gardens, of course you have the aquarium, we have the water park. That was there on a regular basis and always accessible. But here, of course we don't have a major theme park here in Jacksonville. So that was different for me, a big theme park, something for the kids to do on a regular basis. Not having an aquarium if you don't want to spend the money for Busch Gardens, because that can be expensive. But something that's more affordable, as the aquarium. Of course, we have a zoo, here in Jacksonville, as well as Tampa has as well. But even, the beaches here, we have pop-up shops, they have events that go on, they have movie nights and things like that. But the difference between there and Tampa is at the beaches that there's always something going on at the beaches. If you don't own a boat, not have a jet ski or anything like that, still just going out and not just hanging out, but there's not necessarily a party, but people getting together and having grilling. So I don't go to the beach here very often, so I can't say if people are out there grilling on a regular basis on a week, every weekend. But there, you feel like there's always family time. There's always families out there doing something, grilling and getting together and dancing and just having fun. I didn't see a whole lot of that here in Jacksonville on a regular basis. So I felt like there was a little bit of culture shock for me, because I just was used to a lot more diversity in Tampa compared to here. And so I was a little taken back when I got here, and I was like, Jacksonville's such a large city, it's the largest city. Why isn't there more going on? When I saw the downtown, I was like, oh my gosh, this is downtown? I was disappointed compared to seeing Orlando or seeing Tampa and what their downtown looks like compared to what Jacksonville's downtown looks like. To me, in my opinion, your downtown should be, it's the hub of the city. It should be vibrant. Where people always, want to go to downtown, on the weekend or during the week, to have something to do or to walk around. I just don't feel like we're as progressive as other major cities like Tampa or Orlando or Miami. It just feels like we're, I would say not backwoods, but that's actually what I've always said to others, I was like, I feel like it's just a big country. It just spread out. And it just feels backwoods. It just don't feel as progressive as it should be and can be, I believe, in my opinion.
Okay, great point. So, there's something to that. So that was back in 2002, early 2000s. And of course, Jacksonville has progressed. Jacksonville has changed. I know we have changed. We've gotten older. We raised our kids. So let's just touch on a little bit on the changes that you've seen from early on to now. Have you seen much change? I know we've heard a lot about the downtown areas. You were downtown tonight with the sisters hanging out and whatnot. So what changes have you seen in, let's say, 20 years, 10 years? Have you seen any changes? Talk to us a little bit about that, because you get out much more than you did before, a lot more autonomy, and we're in a better position now. So talk a little bit about that. Then we're going to switch over to talk about the kiddos and the children and things they have going on for the kids. And then I'll wrap things up and give my kind of viewpoint on it. And we'll go from there. So talk about like the changes that you've seen from your perspective as a...
we have had some changes. I've seen more skating rings that have developed. It's like they're doing more out at the beaches areas, having more events. And of course, the jazz festival that comes, the movie nights that are going on. They have made improvement to the beaches area. The downtown, of course, has revamped, even though, so a lot has been torn down. But it looks like we are making ways to having some improvements and things to do. We'll be definitely looking forward to that. We do have the arts walk that's conducted every weekend. And so tonight I was downtown, my group we go and walk. And so they had what they call like a night arts walk. And so, which I wasn't really aware of that. But while I was walking down there, I was like, oh, okay, they have, I had live band, they had pop-up shops, vendors out there, people out gathered, listening to music, having a good time, mingling, purchasing items, which was good to see. And it was diverse. So I was like, oh my gosh, that's, actually nice, something that I would like to attend that I just wasn't aware of until I found out like the night before, my trainer had actually told me about it. But, I wish if I had known sooner, about that would have been something I would have liked to have planned to attend. Of course, football, I'm not, into football, not a football fan. Jags are doing well, but improvements
Go Jags.
Improvements at the stadium, that have been occurring at the Metro Park area as we are progressing. Even one thing with electric cars, I've seen, more electric stations, charging stations, out. And I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere.
Right.
So we're trying and doing better. So I'm not gonna say that, everything's all bad, because it's not, no matter where you go. But, I would definitely like to see more culture brought to Jacksonville. The people here, when I did get here, I did notice that they seem more pleasant, more willing to speak, to you, seem more inviting also, not so standoffish, which, some cities can be, on where you are, how you're raised.
Right.
That was pleasant to see that at least people were more inviting and welcoming to others. With that, I definitely would like to, because we live close to the airport, so that's a plus for us that we live close to the airport. It's not a major airport to me, in my opinion, so of course it's not a major hub like Atlanta. But I definitely would like to see more flights, airlines that leaving out of Jacksonville, going places. That would be a big plus. So
Right.
I think we are moving in, I think, the right direction. Maybe not at the pace that I would like, but
Right.
but we are moving in the right direction.
Right. Great point. So, what I would say is what I'm seeing with downtown, there's billions of dollars being pumped into downtown with the owner of the Jaguars, Shad Khan, and other big business folks in the area. And so it is going on with a lot of innovation, a lot of money being pumped in the area. The Jaguars have created a practice field. They got a 5-star restaurant and hotels coming. My wife mentioned about the Metropolitan Park. That's a place where they have a lot of functions for everyone. What's that event they have with the multicultural thing? What everybody from all walks of life come together.
Oh yeah.
I forgot the name of
Me
it.
too.
But every year they have a big event down there. It was always at Metropolitan Park. They have parades. The key, I think, I want to get across, and you guys probably heard it in a lot of my other videos, is that when you talk about Central Florida, Tampa, Orlando, and even South Florida, Miami, West Palm Beach, you have, in my opinion, much more transplants going to that area who come in from bigger cities. You have it here in Jacksonville. You have a lot of transplants as well. It is the relocation mecca, but I think those areas are more city, and this is more of a kind of slower pace in a sense, more laid back. You're gonna see a lot of people who been in Jacksonville and stayed in Jacksonville all their lives. You run into that, so, but you have a good mix. So when we talk about diversity, we're not just mentioning color, but we're just mentioning just people from different walks of life, different ages. You have like retirees, you have a lot of young families, you have a lot of people coming from business. But it is an amazing place to start a business. It's an amazing place to continue your business. There's great job opportunities. We're seeing more and more. And with the pandemic, even more and more people are moving to Florida. So I wanted to get my wife on here just to get another viewpoint about it, another perspective for women out there, because a lot of times with me, I'm talking about things and people may not really, a lot of times it's better coming from a woman, a professional woman, an educated woman who's been here and seen things. So we've been able to raise 3 children here for over 20 years. Our children are moved on, and we've been blessed to take on some other family members who've come. And so we kind of, since they're not babies, but we're kind of helping some other family, and that's a blessing. But before we jump into the next piece, I just want to say, hit that like button, hit that, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to give you everything, guys. In 2024, we give you all the good, the bad, the ugly, keeping it real. And I'm going to have, if my wife's okay with it, have her jump on some more videos in the future that I feel like can be relevant and can help. So let's jump into the kids and raising kids. So what would you say, Biama, about raising kiddos? What would you say, Jacksonville, as far as raising a family in this city? What can you tell the folks from a woman's perspective? You were a young mother, but the transition. So talk about that, and then we'll wrap up shortly thereafter with some final points. Okay. Yeah, talk to us.
So raising kids from the area that we lived in, we lived initially on the south side of Jacksonville. So I felt safe. I felt that our kids were safe. Navigating and driving home to school or home to church was pretty easy for us from where we lived and where they attended school. Of course, because Jacksonville is so widespread, of course you have to have a car.
Oh yeah.
In order
Absolutely.
to get anywhere,
1000%.
that's like a must.
Yeah.
And then when our kids, like I say, they grew on transition to other schools, then that's when I felt the punch. I was like, oh my gosh. It's taken us, I said when we moved to the north side of town, our daughter was attending a private school. That is like that drive. It's like, oh my gosh, 20-25 minutes to get to school. Oh my gosh, it's taking forever. We're spending 50 minutes in the car just to get her to school. But including traffic, add on an additional 15 minutes if you're backed up in traffic. But I felt like there was enough for them to do. Being here in Jacksonville as kids, things that could take them to, things that they can get involved in, felt that is pretty sufficient. Now, when they got older, as teenagers, I thought that they needed more. They needed to have additional things that they could participate in on the weekends, or even of course during the summer when they're out of school. I think the prices like here, I think were pretty much comparable to almost anywhere in Florida. School systems, and honestly, no, we don't have the best school systems. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We do not. But as far as kids feeling safe in school, I think we do pretty good. At least while our kids were in school. They're not in school now, but at that time, I felt safe and comfortable with them being where they were, which is huge, for a parent, especially as a mother, because that's the first thing we think about is our children. Make sure that our children are going to be safe wherever they are, especially when they're in school and not under our care and someone else's care. And then after school, or them participating in school activities, of course, were there and available for them. But I just think as they got older and became teenagers and going into young adulthood, I just felt that Jacksonville just needed to have more things for them to do that they would be interested in doing. But other than that, well-rounded while they lived here, and for what we could pour into them and for what others poured into them, I feel like they ended up pretty good.
Yeah, great insight. And I think what helped us a lot, we had family members. So my brother lives here along with his wife and their kids, and then also my mother and father lived here. So we had a strong support system, and then we were both heavily involved in the church in our church with our kids, and they were active in church. So the church kind of helped fill a lot of the, when there's not a lot going on in a city like this, a lot of times you always have some type of event going on at church, something they can involve themselves with, a youth group and things like that. So I was heavily involved in the church as, working with the youth and mentoring and things of that nature. So this city kind of lends towards a lot of that. If you're like wanting to volunteer and get involved in different things, there's always something, in my opinion, family friendly going on to keep your kids grounded, to keep them, on the up and up and the straight and narrow. Of course, there's going to be bad apples everywhere, but in general, the schools are generally safe. And the key, I believe, we can go for any city, is like the parental involvement. And so we were both heavily involved in our kids' involvement in the school. So that's really, really key. And then as much as we could, we would take like family trips, family vacations. The beautiful thing about Jacksonville, and I've said this many times, is that we're very close to Georgia. We're only 5 hours from Atlanta drive. We're 2 hours, 2.5 hours from Orlando, 3.5 hours from Tampa, only 5 hours from Miami. Savannah, Georgia is 90 minutes. Daytona Beach is an hour and a half. St. Augustine. So you're very, very close to a lot of things. And I think at the time when our kids were younger, we were, struggling in a sense from a financial perspective, a young married couple and trying to figure it out with 3 kids. So we didn't have that kind of discretionary income to do a lot of different things that maybe you and your family can do, just being in a better position with all the equity that people have and just with better jobs and managing money really well. So this was just our perspective, and I just really wanted to bring my wife on just to help people to get insight on this, because I think it's key to get a woman's perspective. So, hopefully this helps someone out there. But leave a comment, any, questions or comments that my wife can answer, I can answer. She's not in real estate. She don't want nothing to do with real estate. I'm still working, trying to get her in there. But, I am a real estate agent, and, I just want to be a real resource, a trusted advisor to help you either buy or sell, or, point you in the right direction, or to invest. I think Jacksonville is one of the top areas to come to live in. The weather is amazing. And I think the weather, a lot of times, is underestimated. A lot of people underestimate how nice the weather is, because in Central Florida, when we mentioned, it's definitely more humid in my estimation, and it rains, in my opinion, a little bit harder. You get more hail. And Jacksonville, to me, in my 30 plus years living in Florida, I would say ideally Jacksonville's weather is the best, because you do get some cold. You can throw on that jacket from time to time. You're gonna peel it off, probably 1 or 2, but that's just my take. So lastly, what do you think about the weather? Just be real, because you're the Tampa girl. What you think, weather-wise? What you think?
Weather-wise, Jacksonville, I don't know if maybe just, I won't say just all of Florida, but Jacksonville weather, it is nice. I'm gonna say compared to, maybe living up north, but of course, we don't have true seasons in Jacksonville or Florida, period. And I think our weather just can't make up its mind what it wants to do.
Wow.
So because, we're hot 10 a.m. or no, I'll say maybe, early in the morning. Well, right now we're, in the 60s, then 12 o'clock, we pulling everything off because it's hot. And then it starts getting a little bit cooler. We start feeling maybe, we might get a little fall weather, some fall weather, a little cooler weather. But then the next, we may get that for a day or two, and then the next day, it's back feeling like almost summer. Or I was when I went to class, I was like, it's chill, a little chilly when I went in. And of course, when I came out, I was like, oh my gosh, why is it so hot? I mean, it was a nice day, but it was hot. So we we can't make up our mind what we want to do with the weather, or the weather can't make up its mind. So you're constantly I always keep a jacket in the car or something light in the car, because you don't know when all of a sudden the weather's going to change and get cool. Always keep an umbrella, because you don't know. You're going to go from one side of town, it's not raining, and you'll drive about 20 minutes to the other side of town and it's raining. So keep an umbrella. Always keep a jacket in the car, especially if you have kids. Always keep a jacket in the car year round, because you just never know.
Okay, so lastly, I'm gonna ask you just one last question. I never asked you this, but if you could change one thing about Jacksonville, Florida, for the better, what would you change by living here? Like what would be the one thing you would change?
Transit system.
Okay.
A better an actual transit system. Besides yes, we have the city buses, JTA. I guess we don't need maybe a true subway, but I would say that would be the one thing I would definitely change.
When you say transit, what you talking about? Like, because downtown they have the above ground, like little train.
But it only takes
subway is like underneath.
Right.
Somebody clarify.
But for that, I'm like, we have the little above ground, but it only goes around downtown.
Yeah.
So,
maybe the rapid transit,
like a rapid transit.
So like I think
to
Miami,
go from one,
Orlando.
to go from if I want to go to Orlando, well, I can from Orlando to Jacksonville quickly. Besides having to drive or because not everybody has a car. They want to take a train or fly. But that would be something that to me is progressive. Is getting something like that here in Jacksonville. That will come to Jacksonville. And then, like I said, we have our busing system, but of course it takes forever. To me personally, I never had to ride the bus, but from what I've been told, it's a long time to go from point A to point B. That definitely can be improved. So that makes commuting better for people who don't have a car or can't afford a car and don't have family or friends to help get them from point A to point B.
Awesome. Okay, well look, thank you everybody. YouTube, again, hit me up, shoot me a text, give me a call if you have any questions about moving to Jacksonville, Florida, just any questions about Jacksonville, Northeast Florida. I definitely would love to help you out. And I want to thank my wife, Biama Cox, for just taking her time out of her busy schedule to just drop some insights on Jacksonville. And it just helped me to better understand, why we're still here after 20 plus years, and we just keep on keeping on. So thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Have a blessed one. We appreciate you.
Bye.
Peace. All right.